Hi guys, I am Silver Hunter from Dota 2 Portal, and I would like to welcome you to our second episode of the Learn Your Role show. If you wish to check out our previous episode devoted to supports, follow the link in the description. We will devote our second episode of the show to one of the most known and popular roles these days, carries. So let's check the reasons of their huge popularity. These are obviously the heroes that carry something, but what could that be? Deadly weapons and mithril armors could be the obvious answer, but you would be wrong. The real answer is they are actually here to carry their teams to victory, on their farmed and ripped bodies. If you've watched our first episode about the supports, you probably remember that they are here to hold the early game, while carries farm their way into the late game. So that's basically it. Supports own in the early game, while carries own in the late game. So why would a role that is mostly useless for the first 20 to 25 minutes be so popular? The reason is fairly simple, but to understand it, you have to be aware of the Dota history. Back in the old days, games would often last between 45 to 60 minutes. Gameplay was mostly oriented around the defensive and the farming aspects of the game. That's because the life of the support, the early game role, was pretty painful due to the limited access to the gold game and to some great supportive items. In other words, they were too weak and too scared to do something huge in the early game, thus prolonging the match to the very late stages of the game and laying all their cards in their carries. So when you do some calculations and imagine a game of 50 minutes or more and take out the first 20 minutes needed for farming, you get more than a half hour of being the badass in the game. Most of the veteran Dota players still have this mentality, while at the same time, the new players watch them and basically completely take over the same play style. However, this story is slightly changing. It's already obvious that the 45 to 60 minute games are pretty rare, on both the pub and the competitive level. Changes in the assist goal, experience gain, and new items are here to announce the age of the supports, while the age of the carries is living through its last hours, before the sun sets out forever. And you should be happy and proud of that fact, as it means that Dota was never more balanced. If you don't believe us, you were obviously a new player, unaware of the unbelievable differences a few years ago. So with the mentioned facts on our mind, we will design this guide to suit the incoming and inevitable support age, and brainstorm the ideas and possibilities for a carry player to survive the early game and stand a chance in the near future games. So what exactly is the role of the carry? Many of you already know the obvious answer, and that's to farm, and farm some more. The idea is to devote the 100% of your early game time to last hit the creeps, get at least 1 or 2 core items, and then help out the team in the team fights, while farming some more in the meantime. The carries are designed to have the bigger base damage, which can be increased even more by buying a cheap quelling blade. This should ease out the process of farming. The goal is to have at least 50 creeps at the 10-minute mark, or 110 to 120 at the 20-minute mark. Sometimes the enemies in your lane will completely shut down your farm, for which you need your mid-hero to gank them and give you the farm space. If that's not possible, try to drain the experience on the safe distance and wait for a better chance to farm. If you can always go to the jungle, but in most cases, you won't be able to. As a carry, always carry a teleport scroll in case your help is needed somewhere. This could give you a big chance in scoring some kills and get you some extra experience. Never ever leave your team alone, especially if you are losing. But as always, sometimes this could pay off. If you are experienced enough to compare the late game of your team and the opposite team, you can let them win the early game while you farm. With some luck, most of the players will stop playing seriously after winning the early game, giving you even more chances to come out fully farmed at the 30-minute mark and do a one-man rampage. But for this, you need tons of experience, and even then, you are sure to make mistakes. In any case, this is just the game, so play for fun, and don't pick anti-mage. How to act in the teamfight? This one is always a tricky question. Obviously, you should do your best to die as little as possible, so never go first in the early game teamfights. Your mid guy is here to engage the fight, so follow his lead and focus down the enemy supports or carries, or whatever looks like the easiest kill. As the game transfers to the mid game, you can feel a bit braver and maybe try to engage the fight with your BKB, which is a core item on almost all carry players. In the late game, feel free to have a lot of confidence. but still make sure not to overextend and end up stun-locked to death by engaging like a Rambo. Every match is different, so basically follow your feelings and learn from your mistakes, if and when you make them. Is there a way to increase my gold gain even more? There always is. Hand of Midas, the popular farming item, is here to increase the gold gain, but is mostly picked to increase the experience gain. If you acquire that item before the 7 to 8 minute mark, you will end up having gold profit after 20 minutes, and end up having the same amount of experience as the mid heroes, even if you spend most of the time in the dual lane. Another way of increasing your gold and experience gain is to ask your support player to stack the jungle camps, or the ancient camp for you. If done properly, this can easily give you over 4k gold over the course of the 30 to 40 minute game. Always try to exploit space to farm, but always have a teleport scroll to TP to your team if needed. So the basic idea is to farm? Indeed. The basic idea behind the successful carry is his ability to find the places to farm. At the same time, he has to determine if his allies are able to play a 4 versus 5 game while he farms. Supports are here to win the early game, but a farmed carry will always be able to crush them as flies in the late game. Alone. Carries are still a perfect late game weapon, without which you are doomed to lose even if you end up winning the early game as a 4 support team. An armed Phantom Assassin or Drow Ranger, who are having a 0-10 score in the first 30 minutes, will get 20 kills in the next 10 if you don't have your own carry to contest them. Pick your carries smart and see if they fit into your composition. If you have a Crystal Maiden or Lich in your team, then pick Faceless Void. If the enemy team has a lot of intelligence heroes, pick Drow Ranger for the silence. If your team needs a tanky and durable hero, and at the same time a carry hero, pick Dragon Knight, Alchemist, or Lifestealer. Find yourself a pool of 10 carry heroes, and rotate them depending on the game. The best and easiest carry heroes for the beginners are Chaos Knight. He has a great attack animation and base damage, which will secure a great gold income. He is also a strength hero, which means that he won't die so easily. He has a single target stun that can potentially last up to 4 seconds, and a chase ability which allows Chaos Knight to do bonus damage on his next attack. He also has a passive which gives him a chance to crit, and finally his ultimate allows him to make illusions of himself that are as tanky and deadly as he is. The only disadvantage is it can get boring to play with him. Dragon Knight, also a strength carry, with passive HP regeneration and armor. He has a great area of effect nuke, and the best level 1 stun in the game. He can also turn into a dragon, so we have nothing else to say about him. Clinks, an agility carry with a great escaping mechanism. Even if you get dusted, your invisibility, or skeleton walk, will still give you a huge movement speed boost. It's easy to last hit with this guy due to his flaming arrows, which can not only be used for harassing an enemy, but can also be used to nuke down towers and other buildings, with great speed thanks to his strafe ability. Huskar. He is a great ranged strength hero, who is known for his flaming spears, which can be pretty irritating in the early game. He also has a spell that gives him HP regeneration, along with a passive that gives faster attack speed and more magic resistance as he loses more of his health, which is a great aspect for a carry. His ultimate allows him to leap right onto an enemy, cutting their HP in half at the cost of a smaller percentage of his own current health. Juggernaut has a free BKB as long as he spins. He also has a healing ability for his whole team and a chance to deal a critical strike. His ultimate can deal a huge amount of damage to lone heroes. Consider trying him out. Luna has the same story as Juggernaut. She has a great single nuke that also mini-stuns, 2 great passives that increase the attack damage of her and her allies, while also giving Luna better night vision, and a passive which allows her glaives to jump up to 5 targets, and the perfect ultimate for the isolated teamfights. Weaver is also a great carry hero, though he needs a bit more farm than the rest of the carry company, but on the other hand, he has 2 great escaping mechanisms, a passive that lets him attack twice, and an ultimate that can make the enemy dusts useless. As always, there are tons of other carries that you should try, as soon as you get enough confidence. Till then, the named heroes will certainly help you out to start grasping the amazing world of carries. I am Silver Hunter from Dota 2 Portal. See you in our next episode.